Good evening, everyone. Hello, Deidre. Hello, Paula. I know that feeling, Deidre, when I can't sleep. I don't like when I can't sleep. Maybe by me reading, you might get tired and sleepy. Let's hope so. Let's start with our prayer. Today's prayer. She is clothed in strength and dignity, and she laughs without fear of the future. Proverbs 31:25. She is clothed in strength and dignity, and she laughs without fear of the future. Proverbs 31:25. What a beautiful prayer. We are on chapter 28. I'm going to take a drink, get comfortable. I don't know how that'll turn out, Paula. We are on chapter 28. And if you remember, it is the day after the housemaid and the husband went out, stayed in a hotel. Now we are going to see what happens. Chapter 28. We hardly talked during the drive back to the island. Andrew turns up the radio and we listen to the DJ's mindless chatter. It occurs to me that he mentioned a meeting later in the city. So he's going to have to turn right back around soon after we get home, but the journey is not entirely for me. He is still wearing the same clothing he was wearing yesterday, and I'm sure he wants to change into a new set before showing up at his meeting. Almost back, he mumbles, when we exit the Long Island Expressway. He's got on a pair of sunglasses, making his expression impossible to read. Great! My dress is riding up yet again. This darn dress is what caused all our problems. I tug at it, even with his shades on. I can't help but notice Andrew is looking again. I raise my eyebrows at him, and he smiles sheepishly. One more for the road. As we were driving down a residential block, he swerves to get around a garbage truck, and that's when a horrible thought occurs to me. Andrew, I hiss, I never put out the garbage last night. Oh? He doesn't seem quite to be understanding the gravity of the situation. Nina specifically texted me to put out the trash last night. I never did it because I wasn't home. I've never forgotten before. If she finds out. He pulls off his sunglasses, revealing slightly bloodshot eyes. Shoot, do you still have time to do it? I watch the garbage truck, which is traveling in the opposite direction of the house. I doubt it. I think it's too late. They come really early. You could just say you forgot, right? You think Nina will buy that? Shoot, he says again. He taps on the steering wheel. Okay, I'll take care of it. Don't worry. The only way to take care of it is to lug all the trash down to the dump personally. I'm not even sure where the dump is. But the trunk of my Nissan is tiny, and it will take me several trips, wherever it is. So I truly hope Andrew means when he says he'll take care of it. When we get back in the house, Andrew presses the button in his car that makes the gate doors swing open automatically. Enzo is working out in the yard, and he jerks his head up when he sees the BMW making its way down the driveway. It's unusual to see the BMW arriving home at this hour. It would make more sense for it to be leaving, so his surprise is warranted. I should have ducked down, but it's too late. Enzo pauses in the middle of his yard work, and his dark eyes meet mine. And he shakes his head, just like he did that first day. Darn it! Andrew notices him too, but he just raises his hand and waves like there's nothing strange about him arriving home at 9:30 in the morning with a woman who is not his wife. Before pulling into the garage, he throws the car into park. Let me see if Enzo can take care of the trash, he says. I want to beg him not to ask, but before I can get my mouth open, he leaps out of the car, leaving the door slightly ajar. Enzo takes a step back like he does not want to have this conversation. See no, Enzo. Andrew flashes at the landscaper a broad smile. He looks so handsome when he smiles. I close my eyes for a moment, shivering as I remember his hands on me. I need your help. Enzo doesn't say a word. He just stares at him. We have a problem with the garbage. Andrew gestures at the 4 stuffed trash bags in the side of the house. We forgot to put them out last night for the garbage men. Do you think you could bring them out to the dump for us in your truck? I'll give you $50. Enzo looks over at the garbage bags and back at Andrew. He doesn't say anything. Garbage, Andrew repeats. To the dump. Garbage, dump, capiche? Enzo shakes his head. Andrew grits his teeth and takes out his wallet from his back pocket. Get rid of the garbage for us. I'll give you... He digs around in his wallet. $100. He fans out the bills in Enzo's face. Get rid of the garbage. You have a truck. Take it to the garbage dump. Finally, Enzo said, no, I'm busy. Right, but this is in our yard, and Andrew lets out a sigh and goes back into his wallet. $200. One trip to the garbage dump. Help me out, please. At first, I think for sure Enzo is going to refuse again. But he reaches out and takes the bills from Andrew's hand. Then he goes to the side of the house, grabs the garbage bags. He manages to get all of them in one trip as the muscles in his biceps bulge under his white t-shirt. Right, Andrew says, to the dump. Enzo just stares at him for a moment, then walks right past him with the garbage bags. Without another word, he throws them into his truck and takes off. So I guess he got the message. Andrew strides back over to the car, slides back in to the driver's seat. Well, that's taken care of, but sheesh. What a butt. I didn't think he understood you. Yeah, right, he rolls his eyes at me. He understands more than he lets on. He was just holding out for more money. I agree that Enzo did not seem to want to take out the garbage, but I don't think it was because he wanted more money. I don't like that guy, Andrew grumbles. He works all the houses in the neighborhood, but he spends a third of the time in our yard. He's always out there. I don't even know what the heck he's doing half the time. You do have the biggest house on the block, I pointed out, and the biggest lawn. Right, but Andrew stares at Enzo's truck, disappearing down the street. I don't know. I told Nina to get rid of him and hire somebody else, but she said everyone uses him and he's apparently the best. Of course, Enzo isn't my favorite person ever, since he so suddenly rejected me. But that's not why he makes me uncomfortable. I can't forget the way he hissed the Italian word for danger on my first day here. The way he seemed scared to defy Nina, even though he's large enough to crush her with one hand. Does Andrew have one clue how wary Enzo is of his wife? Well, I'm not going to be the one to tell him. And that takes us to chapter 29. Nina comes home from dropping Cecilia off at camp around 2 in the afternoon. She's carrying 4 large shopping bags from the impromptu shopping spree from the drive home, which she dumps unceremoniously on the living room floor. I found the cutest little shop, she tells me. I just couldn't help myself. Great, I say with forced enthusiasm. Nina's cheeks are flushed. There are sweat stains under her armpits, and her blonde hair is frizzy. She still hasn't taken care of her roots, and the mascara on her right eye is caked in the corner. When I look her over, I genuinely can't figure out what Andrew sees in her. Take those bags upstairs for me, would you, Millie? She plops down on the leather sofa and takes out her phone. Thanks so much. I pick up one of the bags, and it is heavy. What kind of shopping did she do? A dumbbell? This is going to end up being 2 trips. I don't have big guns like Enzo. Kind of heavy, I comment. Really, she laughs. I didn't think so. Maybe it's time to start going to the gym, Millie. You're getting a little soft. My cheeks burn. I'm getting soft. Nina doesn't look like she had once ounce of muscle on her. She never works out, and as far as I can tell, I never seen her even wear sneakers. As I slowly and painfully make my way up the stairs with 2 of the shopping bags, Nina calls out to me again. Oh, by the way, Millie. I clench my teeth. Yes? Nina rotates on the couch to look up at me. I called the house late last night. How's come nobody answered? I freeze. My arms tremble under the weight of the shopping bags. What? I dialed the house phone number last night, she said. And around 11 o'clock, answering the house phone is one of your responsibilities. But you and Andrew both did not pick up. I put down the shopping bags for a moment and rubbed my chin like I was thinking about it. I may have already been asleep by then, and the phone isn't loud enough in my room to wake me up. Maybe Andrew went out. She arches an eyebrow. Andrew went out at 11 o'clock on a Sunday night? With whom? I lift my shoulders. I have no idea. Did you try his cell? I know she didn't. I was with Andrew at 11 o'clock. We were in bed together. I didn't, she says, but doesn't offer any further explanation. I clear my throat. Well, I said, I was in my room at that point. I have no idea what he was doing. Her pale blue eyes darken as she stares up at me across the living room. Maybe you're right. I'll have to ask him. I nod, relieved she isn't questioning me any further. She doesn't know what happened. She doesn't know we drove into the city together, saw the show and was meant to see him, and then spent the night together at the plaza. Whew, God only knows what she would do if she knew. but she doesn't. I grab the shopping bags, heave them the rest of the way up the steps. I deposit them in the master bedroom and rub my arms, which seemed to have gone numb during my journey. My eyes were drawn to the master bathroom, which I cleaned this morning. Although Nina was out of town, it was unusually clean already. I slip inside the room. The bathroom is nearly as large as my room upstairs, with a full-size porcelain bathtub. The tub is higher than most tubs, the rim at the level of my knees. I frown down at the bathtub, imagining what must have happened all those years ago. Little Cecilia taking a bath in the tub as it slowly fills up with water. Then Nina grabs her daughter, forcing her under the water, watching her gasp for air. I close my eyes and turn away from the tub. I can't think about this, but I can never forget how emotionally fragile Nina is. She can never know what happened between me and Andrew. It would destroy her, and then she would destroy me. So I reach into my pocket and pull out my phone. I punch in a message to Andrew's cell number. Just a warning, Nina called the house last night. He'll know what to do. He always does. And that takes us to chapter 30. The house is quieter with Cecilia gone. Even though she stayed up in her room a lot, there were a certain energy she brought with her, and it was gone. It seemed like silence was descending over the Winchester household. And to my surprise, Nina seems more cheerful. Thank God she hasn't brought up the phone call on the night we went away. Andrew and I have been meticulously avoiding each other, which is difficult when we live in the same house. If we pass each other, we both avert our eyes. Hopefully we can get past it, because I don't want to lose this job. It's bad enough that I have no chance of a real relationship with the first guy I liked in a decade. Tonight I'm hurrying to get dinner ready so I can have it on the table before Andrew gets home. But I'm carrying the glasses of water into the dining room. I run smack into Andrew, literally. One of the glasses slips out of my hand and shatters to the floor. Darn it, I cry. I hazard a look at Andrew. He's wearing a dark blue suit with a dark tie, and yet again he looks devastatingly handsome. He's been at work all day, and he has 5 o'clock shadow on his chin, which only makes him more sexy. Our eyes meet for a split second, and against my will, I feel a jolt of attraction. His eyes widen, and I'm sure he feels it too. I'll help you get this cleaned up, he says. You don't have to do that. But he insists. I sweep up the large pieces of glass, and he holds the dustpan and disposes of them in the kitchen. Nina would never help me, but Andrew isn't like that. As he takes the broom from me, my fingers brush against him. Our eyes meet again, and this time we can't ignore the fireworks. It's physically painful, and I can't be with this man. Millie, he says in a husky whisper. My throat feels really dry. He's only a foot away from me. If I leaned in forward, he would kiss me. I know he would. Oh no, what happened? At the sound of Nina's voice, Andrew and I jumped from each other like we were lit on fire. I gripped the broom so tightly my fingers turned white. I dropped a glass, I said. Just, getting it cleaned up. Nina's eyes drop down to the floor where tiny little shards of glass are glistening under the overhead lights. "Oh, Millie," she says, "please be more careful next time. I have worked here for months, and I have never once dropped or broken anything. Well, except that night she caught me and Andrew watching Family Feud late at night. But she doesn't know about that. Yes, I'm sorry. I'm just going to grab the vacuum." Andrew's eyes follow me as I return to the utility closet, which is slightly larger than my bedroom upstairs. Stuff the broom back inside and grab the vacuum. He has a pained expression on his face. Whatever he wanted to say to me a minute ago, he still wants to say it. But he can't. Not with Nina in the room. Or maybe he can. "We should talk later," he murmurs in my ear, just as he follows Nina into the living room to wait for me to clean up. Okay. I nod. I don't know what he wants to talk about, but I take this as a good sign. We already agreed never to speak of what happened last night at the plaza. So if he wants to revisit this, I shouldn't get my hopes up. About 10 minutes later, I've got everything cleaned up, and I call Andrew and Nina back from the living room. They're both sitting on the couch, but at opposite ends. They're looking at their phones, not even attempting to talk to each other. I notice they've started to do the same at dinner time. They follow me back into the dining room, and Nina takes her seat across from Andrew. She looks down at the plate of pork chop, applesauce, and broccoli. She smiles at me, and that's when I notice her bright red lipstick looks a little bit off. It is smeared over the right side of her lips, which gives her almost a demonic clown appearance. "This looks delicious, Millie." "Thank you." "Doesn't it smell wonderful, Andy?" she said. "Mm-hmm." He picks up his fork. "Very nice." "I'm sure," Nina continues. "You never get food like this in prison, did you, Millie?" Mic drop. Nina is smiling up at me pleasantly with the demonic lips. Andrew, sitting across from her, is gawking at me. Obviously, this is new information to him. I say, "What sort of food did they serve you there?" She presses me. "I've always been curious about that. What's prison food like?" I don't know what to say. I can't deny it. She knows my past. It's okay. "Well, I hope you don't get inspired by any meals you have there," she laughs. "Stick with what you've been doing. You've done a good job." "Thank you," I mutter. Andrew's face is ashen. Of course he had no idea I was ever in prison. I never even considered telling him. Somehow, when I'm with him, that time in my life seems like something from a distant past, another lifetime. But most people don't see it that way. To most people, I am only one thing: a convict. Good evening, Queen Bee. Right now, I'm desperate to escape Andrew's shocked expression. I turn around to head back up to my room, and I'm nearly at the stairwell when Nina calls out to me, "Millie." I stop, my back going rigid. It takes all of my self-restraint to keep from snapping at her when I turn around. I slowly walk back to the dining room with an artificial smile. "Yes, Nina." She frowns. You forgot to put out the salt and pepper shakers. And unfortunately, this pork chop does need a bit of salt. I wish you would be more generous with the seasonings. Right, sorry. I walk into the kitchen, grab the salt and pepper shakers from the counter. They were roughly 6 feet away from where Nina was sitting in the other room. I bring them out in the dining room, and despite my efforts not, I slam the shakers down on the table. When I look at Nina, the corners of her lips are twitching. Thank you so much, Millie, she said. Please don't forget it again. I hope she steps on a shard of glass. Oh my. I can't even look at Andrew. God knows what he must be thinking about me. I can't believe I was contemplating some sort of future with him. I wasn't really, but, well, for a split second. Well, stranger things have happened, but that's not in the window now. He looked horrified when she mentioned I had been in prison. If only I could explain. I managed to make it to the stairs this time without Nina calling me over to tell me this or that. I don't know. I need to pass the butter from the other side of the table or something like that. I trudge up the steps to the second floor. Then up the darker, narrow set of steps to my bedroom. I slam the door behind me, wishing not for the first time I could lock it. I plop down on my bed, trying to keep the tears from welling up. I wonder how long Nina had known about my past. Did she only recently discover it? Or did she do a background check when she hired me after all? Maybe she liked the idea of hiring a convict, someone she could boss around. Anyone else would have quit months ago. Well, I'm sitting on the bed, feeling sorry for myself. Something on my nightstand catches my eye. It's a copy of the playbill for the showdown. I pick it up, confused. Why is the playbill on my nightstand? I put it in my purse after the show, and I've been keeping it there as a reminder of that magical night. My purse is on the floor, leaning against the dresser. So how did the playbill get on the nightstand? I definitely didn't take it out. I'm sure of it. Someone else must have put it there. I locked the door to the room, but I'm not the only one here who has the key. I get a sinking feeling in my stomach. I finally understand why Nina blurted out that I had been in prison. She knows I saw the show with Andrew. She knows we were in Manhattan together, all alone. I'm not sure if she knows we spent the night at the plaza, but she knows we weren't home at 11 o'clock. And I'm sure if she's smart enough, she could find out whether or not we checked into the hotel. Nina knows everything. I have just made a dangerous enemy. And that does take us to chapter 31. Let's see how long 31. Oh, it's a shorty. I'm going to take a drink, and you guys want me to move on to chapter 31? I know. How did Nina know? Tell you, that woman's probably smarter than they give her credit for. As part of my new daily regimen of torture, Nina has made it her goal to make shopping as challenging for me as she possibly can. She has written out a list of items we need from the grocery store, but they are very specific. She doesn't want milk. She wants organic milk from Queenland Farm. And if they don't have the exact item she wants, I have to text her to let her know, and she'll send me pictures of another possible replacement. And she takes her sweet time texting me back. But I have to stand there in the milk aisle waiting. Right now, I'm in the bread aisle. I sent Nina a text. They are out of Nantucket sourdough bread. Here are some possible replacements. I send her photographs of every single kind of sourdough bread they have in the stock. And now I have to wait while she looks at them. After several minutes, I receive a text back from her. Do they have brioche? Now I have to send her pictures of every brioche bread they have. I swear, I'm going to blow my brains out before I finish this shopping trip. She's deliberately tormenting me. But, to be fair, I did sleep with her husband. As I'm snapping photographs of the bread, I notice a heavy-set man with gray hair watching me from the other end of the aisle. He's not even being subtle about it. I shoot him a look and he backs off. I can't deal with this stalker on top of everything else. As I wait for Nina to contemplate the bread a little further, I let my mind wander. As usual, it wanders to Andrew Winchester. After Nina's revelation that I had been in prison, Andrew never found me to talk like he said he would. He has been effectively scared off. I can't blame him. I like Andrew. No, I don't just like him. I'm in love with him. I think about him all the time, and it's painful to share a home with him and not be able to act on my feelings. Moreover, he deserves better than Nina. I could make him happy. I could even give him a baby he wants. But let's face it, anything is better than her. But even though he knows we have a connection, nothing will ever happen. He knows I went to prison. He doesn't want an ex-convict. He's going to keep on being miserable with that witch, probably for the rest of his life. My phone buzzes again. Any French bread? It takes another 10 minutes, but I manage to find a loaf of bread that meets Nina's expectations. As I roll my shopping cart to the checkout, I notice that the heavy-set guy again. He is definitely staring at me. And more unsettling, he doesn't have a shopping cart. So what exactly is he doing? I check out as quickly as I possibly can. I load the paper bags filled with groceries back into my shopping cart so I can push it out to the parking lot. It's only as I'm getting close to the exit that a hand closes around my shoulder. I lift my head and the heavy-set man is smiling over me. "Excuse me," I try to jerk away, and he holds tight to my arm. My right hand balls into a fist. At least a bunch of people are watching us, so I have witnesses. "What do you think you're doing?" He points to a small ID badge hanging from his collar of his blue shirt, which I hadn't noticed before. "I'm supermarket security. Can you come with me, miss?" I'm going to be sick. It's bad enough I spent almost 90 minutes in this place, shopping for a handful of items, but now I'm being arrested for what? What's wrong? We have attracted a crowd. I notice a couple of women from the school pickup, who I'm sure will gleefully report back to Nina that they saw her housekeeper being approached by the supermarket security. Please come with me, the guy says again. I push my cart with us because I'm scared to leave it behind. There are over $200 worth of groceries in there, and I'm sure Nina would make me pay for all of it if they were lost or stolen. I follow the man into a small office with a snatched up wooden desk and two plastic chairs set up in front of it. The man gestures for me to sit down, so I settle down into one of the chairs, which creaks threateningly under my weight. This has got to be a mistake. I look at the man's ID badge. His name is Paul Dorsey. What's this about, Mr. Dorsey? He frowns at me with his jowls hanging. A customer alerted me that you were stealing items from the supermarket. I let out a gasp. I would never do that. Maybe not. He sticks his thumb into the loop of his belt, but I have to investigate. Can I see your receipt, please? Miss Calloway. I dig around in my purse until I come up with a crumpled strip of paper. Here. Just as a warning, he said, we prosecute all shoplifters. I sit in the plastic chair, my cheeks burning, while the security guard painstakingly looks through all my purchases and matches them up with what's in the cart. My stomach churns as I consider the horrible possibility that maybe the clerk didn't ring something up properly and he'll think I stole it. And then what? They prosecute all shoplifters? That means that they'll call the police, and that would be a violation of my parole. For sure. It hits me that this would work out pretty well for Nina. She would get rid of me without having to be the mean one who fired me. She would also get some pretty sweet revenge for having slept with her husband. And of course, it's a little harsh to be sent to jail for adultery. But I get the feeling Nina may look at it differently. But that can't happen. I didn't steal anything from the grocery store. He's not going to find anything in that cart that isn't on my receipts, is he? I watch him scrutinizing the strip of paper as the tub of pistachio ice cream in my cart likely turns liquid. My heart is pounding in my chest. I can hardly breathe. I don't want to go back to jail. I can't. I'd rather hurt myself. Well, he finally says, everything seems to match up. I almost burst into tears. Right, of course. He grunts. I'm sorry to bother you like that. Miss Calloway, but we have a lot of problems with shoplifters, and I had to take it seriously. And I got a phone call alerting me that a customer matching your description might be planning to take something. A phone call? Who would call the grocery store and describe what I look like and tell the security guard I was planning to steal something? Who would do such a thing? I can only think of one person who would do something like that. Anyway, he says, thanks for your patience. You can go now. There are 4 most beautiful words in the English language. You can go now. I get to leave this grocery store with my hands free, pushing my shopping cart. I get to go home this time. But I have a terrible feeling this is not the end of it. Nina has more in store for me. And that takes us to chapter 32. Oh boy. I can see what's going on here, can't you guys? That's terrible. And he gave it away. Yeah, it sounds like Nina is a piece of work, and she's the one who put that pamphlet on her nightstand, guaranteed. And she knows they were together, and I think she's going to make her pay a valuable price for it. Oh my goodness, thank you for the hearts. Thank you, you all. I just love this story. And I cannot wait till next week to find out what's going to happen. I don't know. What do you guys think? I think Nina knows. I think she knows. That's why she mentioned to her, nobody answered the phone. That was a clear sign she knew something. And she's already confronted Andrew. That's probably what he wanted to talk to Millie about. So, yeah, it makes sense to me. Deidre thinks it was Andrew. Oh, that put the thing on her nightstand, the pamphlet? It might have been. I don't know. Somebody called the store and nobody knows she's there but Nina. Yeah, I think she knows. Well, you guys have a wonderful night. Deidre, I hope you get some sleep, honey. And I will see you again in another live. Look forward to our Hauntober. Hashtag Hauntober 24. Good night, everyone. Sleep tight and sweet dreams.